Hello everyone, I'm just going to do a bit of brushing my hair. We're on again. We've obviously had not much time between the two different performances. I was on for the pre-show today with none other than Jim Maxwell, and who's behind me, his books behind me there. I was on with Jim Maxwell and David Gravely, and then Aparna joined for a period of time, and then I went on for my own watching a match. And very disappointing to see India not last very long. Admittedly, England bowled very well. Robinson, who took 5 wickets and was actually named man of the match. There's a lot to be said about the bowling of Ollie Robinson, in particular. Well, Anderson didn't bowl badly either, but what did in the first innings India got? So Ollie Robinson got 2 in the first and a further 5 in the last. He was deemed man of the match. We could have easily given the man of the match to Joe Root as well. So welcome back. This is the 696th video. Some 461 that are recorded, and this is the 235th live performance. And yeah, I'm going to work out what we're doing. Waiting for a few people to come on. I know that Gurkha and Gill's joining me. We might see Richard and Munchie and Chris. We'll see where they are, because it's about 2 o'clock in the daytime. They're probably working, guys. Let's have a look here. It certainly is a situation where the likes of hello, Basa Dada. How are you, daughter? So the reality is we haven't got. I had a huge following from before, but obviously people are not that interested at the moment. But they'll come. The reaction to this match has been a bit unfortunate. England's bowlers today: Anderson took 1, Robinson took 5 in total, Overton 3, and Moeen Ali took 1 as well. There's no doubt about that. India were 2 for 215 overnight, looking like they had a potential to bat all day. They didn't last a session. They only batted some. Well, how many overs they bat? Some. I'm going to say roughly, 15, 16 overs or thereabouts. And they were all out for 278 after being 2 for 215. So they've effectively lost 8 for 63 today. Virat Kohli got his 50, but was out shortly after the Robinson ball that again, Rahane and again, even Punt, and certainly Kohli, all played outside the line of their face. They didn't play under the helmet. They followed the ball out when they should not have done that. And they seem to have learned. They seem to do it for a while, but when they played, when I think Kohli played a couple of very confident leg side shots, and then inevitably played the same ball again. One other thing about the 4th test, well, that's going to be interesting. I'm sure we're going to see Ashwin return to the side, probably at the expense of Ishant Sharma. And then you'll have, batting-wise, they're probably going to kick the same. Well, Pujara has to be kept now. He's scored 91. Kohli scored 55. Rahane, a little bit of danger, but he should be still. So I don't think there's going to be changes yet again to the batting. September 1st is your CET. Please wish me luck. I will, Prabhu John. What is that test? What does the CET stand for? Tell me what it stands for. Yeah, so England won by innings. And that was not what I wanted to say. But England won by an innings and 76 runs. When we started today's play, they were 139 adrift. Well, they only got rid of 63 of that, didn't they? Which was quite unfortunate. My England team for the Oval. Tim Wilton Davies has joined us, and he's given us his team. Burns, Hamid, Malan, Root, Bester, Butler, Moeen, Rowan, Wood, Leach, and Anderson. So you're taking out Curran, and you're taking out Overton, and you're including Leach as well. It's interesting. I'm not sure that they're going to drop Sam Curran, but that's interesting. Change Kohli. He's arrogant, not accepting mistakes. I don't know. I think he is accepting mistakes. Your courses, state level test for undergraduate courses after 12th. Okay, well, good luck to you, Prabhujan. Interesting. Tim Wilton Davies. Whereabouts, Tim? Tell me where you are exactly. What part of the world? I'm interested to find out where you are. Are you in England itself, or are you outside of England? Let me know. I'm assuming that you are. Paranjay Sajid Sachdeva, hello. I wouldn't be too upset for the people who wanted to support India, because they recovered brilliantly. So it's very hard mentally, physically to do it again another day in a row. And England come out bowling really well. It was interesting to hear Jim Anderson, talk about the fact that he thought they were going to be in for a long day today, which was interesting. So he obviously had a lot of respect for the Indian batters and expected them to give them a long day. Yeah, I'm not happy with their performance today either. Day 3 preview, I said innings defeat. Yesterday they were lucky. Pujara Kohli are not fit to wear the shirt. Total disgrace. Yeah, not happy. You're in Tim Wilton's northeast England, so you're actually not far from the Headingley Leeds ground, are you, Tim? Did you not want to go to the game? They can't survive the new ball. Well, there was a fear that I had that Kohli and Pujara wouldn't last, and they didn't. Mitchell, Chahana, the way that Rahane, he looked quite good, actually. I was quite happy that the way he was batting. He just got out, again, nicking the ball. And that's never much fun. So that's a bit of a problem. We're waiting on Gurkhardt Singh Gill to come. And I'm assuming that a few of the other English will come on too. I'm having to wait because I didn't expect to be back. Well, I only left the other broadcast an hour ago expecting the full day's play, but I was wrong. So there's a media conference now between both Joe Root and looks like a combined one. It's almost as if they I'm not sure what's going on here. Save items. There we go. The Craig Overton we saw already. Let's have a look here. I think the Craig Overton video was already. Yeah, it was early today. So Joe Root have done a combined one. It was one that get released in 58. A matter of minutes, a few ago. All right, what to do now? Anuj Ingle, what to do now is a great question. We need to work out what we're going to do now. It's still 2 hours drive from Headingley and without a car. Okay, so that makes it difficult. Disappointed to see Ryan. Okay, Pants should play in India and Australia, not in swinging. Didn't look good today. It's time to change approach. India badly need one more batsman. I think you're right. Just don't know how they're going to do that. It'll be interesting to see how they do that indeed, because let's have a look here. Ollie Robinson's there. I think both Ollie Robinson and Joe Root have both come in. It's interesting. They've actually had both of them. Both Joe Root and Ollie Robinson have both had their press conferences. Interesting. Let's leave. I should have two then. One's 7:45. Let's have a look at the wake up. Sorry, guys, I'm just doing some little bit of work here. Okay, so Ollie Robinson is 7:45. It's been a day of disappointment from India's perspective. They're certainly losing 8 wickets for 63, but certainly not something you want to see happen. And do you think India can recover like they recovered? Yes, absolutely. I certainly can. I think Ashwin will make a big difference in this test match. I totally agree. What's the take on Ishant if he is? Yeah, I think Ishant's going to be replaced by Ashwin. What to do now? Dodger now is get their act together very quick. Some senior players or coach should talk to him about. Yeah, I think so too. I think he needs to just be a little bit. He seems to go for the first couple of balls, and he settles down and plays like a half shot. I'm not sure what that's all about. He's better off just taking his time and then launching. Indian middle order is in serious crisis. Now, Rahane is probably the pressure to fill. No, don't say that. That's not right. Actually, yes, they will. My team for the third test is Rahul Prithvi Shaw. No. Prithvi Shaw's not coming in. Rohit, Pujara, Virat, Sky, Punt, Jadeja, Ashwin, Sharmi, Burma. Okay, the Sky selection is an interesting one. I don't know whether they're going to do that. I think they're still going to persist with this batting order, to be honest. I don't think they're going to change. They're not going to change Sky. You're putting Sky over both Vihari and over Agarwal. Why is that? Why should Sky come ahead of those two? I don't think they should. Well, he should. So I don't think you're going to bring Sky over the top of Vihari or Agarwal. One of those two would have to be preference to go, but I don't think they're going to change it. Or Mishal Prashadi Krishna for Ishan. I think it's going to be Ashwin, actually. Yeah, no, Pujara's not being dropped. There's very little chance of Pujara being dropped. He's just scored 91, even though he didn't play well today. He just scored 91. I don't know. I don't think that's where the problem actually is, guys. I really don't. I need to get this sorted now, guys. The video of Ollie Robinson would be the one that, followed by Joe Root, one after the other, is where we're at. So, what other question we got, guys? Okay. 8 wickets for 3 runs today. Another collapse. Well, it is definitely a collapse. Sky plays well on the back foot. Need an orthodox player who can put pressure on him on paces. Well, can't Vihari do that? And can't
go ahead with Rory. Go ahead, Rory.
I mean, can't Vihari do that? I think he could do it too. I think Vihari could do that as well. He's more than capable of doing that, isn't he? There's no doubt that Vihari could do the same thing. So man of the match was Ollie Robinson. So what I do, guys, post matches, you generally get a media report coming out. We need more. Yeah, I would agree. Did they do something with the pitch? No, it wasn't. It was clear sunny skies. There was no reason. Yeah, I'll wait to see that Sky. I'm not sure whether he's quite ready yet. And also, why our team is struggling. I don't know. They really did well yesterday. They did really, really well yesterday. You've got to remember they did particularly well to get themselves in that situation. They just didn't go on with it today, and it was really up to Pujara and Kohli to continue, and they just didn't. It's an unfortunate situation, that's for sure. Something to do this, guys, while we're talking. It's an important thing. I haven't got a team of people behind me doing this. Let's have a look. You've got it. Reg has joined. How are you, Reg?
Hi, Norman. How are you, fella? All right.
Good. Did you see that I brought Jimmy Maxwell and that together with David? Did you hear that?
It was, yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I mean, Jim Maxwell has been the voice of my whole cricket life, in a way, because when I was young, they didn't always have the cricket on the TV. In fact, a little bit flaky television back in the 70s and 80s. You got some, but they used to take it off to, show the soaps and the news. And so I was a big radio listener. I've always been a big radio listener to the cricket. It sounds as though it shouldn't work, but it really does.
But did you?
And
tell me about when you heard him talking. Did you? It was great to see that the fact that they haven't actually spoken in haven't seen each other in 16 years, and probably haven't spoken in 16 years, or what I can gather.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That was
I
quite-
mean, you've got two titans of cricket, really. Norman. You're very lucky on your channel to have that. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. They're both on, and of course you had Jeff Thompson on as well, and Steve Waugh. You should be proud, very, very proud.
I'm very proud, and I'm honoured because they obviously think enough of what I'm doing to actually give me that opportunity. I mean, I guess I'm not trying to brag, but it gives me some feeling of credit about what I'm doing.
And rightly so. No, and you're doing a good thing. You're bringing sensible cricket discussion, not political cricket discussion. People are going to come on and say what they think and tell the truth, hopefully. I'm just a guy, same as Munchie and some of the other guys you have on, and we're just going to tell it as we see it without any agendas. We haven't got an agenda, and that's good. And that's what people.
Oh, that's exactly right. I'm just posting. There's been a video conference with Ollie, the man of the match. Ollie Robinson.
Sorry, I watched his interview on Sky after the game.
Right.
They always talk sensibly, don't they? But
they're very humble. They're very humble in general, aren't they?
I think that's media training to a certain extent, Norman, isn't it?
You'd hope so.
To be a little bit humble. I think the most interesting interview was Kohli's, to be fair. I thought he gave a very honest, sensible and forthright interview. Didn't apportion blames and just told it as it was. Said we weren't good enough. We lost to the better side and we've got to be better. And that was
I'm impressed with him as well. I think he genuinely. Sorry.
I was very impressed. Yeah, very impressed.
He just seems to be a matter of fact now. He's played so much cricket. He's no longer. I mean, even though he plays it hard now, I'll just let you in on some antics that really interested me. The way Joe Root and to a lesser extent Ollie Robinson celebrated the wickets. Joe Root was almost out of his skin, very much like a Kohli. It's almost as if he was doing a Kohli. Would you argue there was a bit of Kohli about the way Root celebrated? Not that it was bad. It wasn't bad, but it was rather.
No, the celebrations are fine, Norman. We've all played cricket. You celebrate. Robinson's a fantastic celebrator, isn't he? Crikey, he gives the batsman a send off, and if he's not on your side, Norman, you hate it, and if he is on your side, you love it. I used to hate. I've told you before. I used to hate that bloody spinner Australia had, Greg Matthews. Hated him, hated it, because he used to give it plenty, didn't he? He was very, and of course, if he's playing for you, you love him, but if he's playing against you, you hate it.
I know, good old Mo quite well. He lives in Bondi Junction, not very far from me. I know what pub he will be at, called the Nelson Hotel, when they're open. He'll be there almost every day. He's a bit of a character. I'll never forget a day at the MCG where there was a glass room. It's the members' area glass room was full of patrons. It was before the match, maybe about 200, 300 people. He's on stage. I'm the only person inside the venue, like as in the seated area, right? Because these people come in, especially for his talk. So I'm walking along with my media accreditation, walking along. Mo sees me while he's in charge of the crowd. Crowd's there. I walk next to him and he's there facing me, and the crowd looked towards me and he's gone, "Hi, Norman." And he goes, "After the game, drink." And the crowd laughed, right? So he made a mocking joke about having a drink with me. You know what? I've never done that with him. So I don't know where he got that from. And it was a bit, well, it wasn't embarrassing, but it was a bit annoying because he's a bit of a strange character when it comes to his personality. He can be really friendly or he can just switch off, right? And he's got this incredible extreme about him. And he can be quite cranky and quite difficult. So I was a bit annoyed that he used me as a prop for his show, but that's not the way he would normally be with me. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I found that rather annoying because I thought, hang on a minute. You're not normally this chummy with me. If you were, I'd respect it. But if you're not, don't put it on for your crowd. So he's trying to make himself look good in front of his crowd. I almost ignored him, but I couldn't because I was right in front of him.
Hey, Norman.
Naresh, how are you, sir? Oh, so that's a smile. That's a smile, Naresh. Oh, dear.
Look, Naresh, we only ever see Reg Vernon and Chris Vanley have a service when they win. All the comments have come through saying that they clearly gloat when they're in the front. They were not to be seen yesterday. I didn't see Reg at all yesterday.
Can I qualify Chris for you now? I am watching the television. I've got a live stream from Sevenoaks Vine Cricket Club on at the moment. Chris is currently batting, and I'm guessing he's got about 65 not out. I'm guessing that because I haven't put a scoreboard up for some reason on the live feed. So there is.
Tell him to,
today.
Yeah.
Well, tell him to get out, for God's sake. Tell him to get out.
Not on. He's been batting since midday, so they're probably about 30 odd overs in. It looks like it's been a little bit tough, but he's still in. He's obviously up in the batting, and he's still in there. And he's just hit a big 6. So he's still going. So anyone who wants to turn us off, us 3 boring old men, and watch Chris bat, they can watch it if they wish to.
Well, I was almost in trouble.
YouTube Live.
I was almost in trouble today because I normally go into the match like it might be the first half an hour of the hour of the match. I have a bit of a chat, right?
Yeah.
I was by myself. I got a message from someone saying that maybe I shouldn't do that because I could be in trouble. And I thought, how is that? Do I need rights to actually talk to an audience? I wouldn't have thought so.
No, you don't. You wouldn't be allowed to have the live commentary, because I remember you saying that the other day when we turned up the volume, and you wouldn't be allowed to show the pictures. But God, you can talk about something you're watching. They can't stop you talking about what you're watching.
I wouldn't have thought so. And even though my thing said live, it just meant live because it was a pre-show. The fact that it went a bit longer, it was a bit unusual.
You can talk, Norman. You can continue to talk for 8-9 hours the entire day till you are not showing the game, which is a copyright issue. Otherwise, you can continue to talk.
Or providing the volume of the sounds of the crowd or the commentary. Correct. I can say that Joe Root's batting, bowling. Oh, sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
Bowling to Virat Kohli. He's just nicked the ball. He's out. I can say that, can't I?
Yes.
You couldn't say that India were batting, Norman, because you'd probably be wrong. They probably would have been all out by then, wouldn't they?
No, but I was worried because Norman went into nearly 45 minutes of the game, and India was 8 down, and when he ended the show, so it was like, when is he coming back? Within 15 minutes after the break?
There was no way. I mean, I had to have a break. I thought, there's no that I could have just kept the show going, really, but that would have been not a pre-show. So I had to break it. I had a very good audience. I mean, did you see it, Naresh? I had David Gravely and Jim Maxwell, and they started to talk. I basically had to sit back. I tried to interrupt.
No, I missed that. I did see David on the show, but I missed that Jim also joined. I missed that bit. Yeah.
Well, Jim was there. Jim was actually first.
Okay.
Jim was first.
Aren't we honoured, Naresh? Aren't we honoured to be on the same platform with the two of the greats of cricket in a way? I know Doe Gravely didn't have a great playing career. They played 20 years of county cricket, but he's done plenty since. And Jim Maxwell is just a legend of the game, a complete legend of the game. It's an honour, absolute honour, Norman. Thank you for extending your invite to me, because I feel humbled to be part of it. I really do. I mean that. I'm not just saying.
So did you come on for Jim? Did you come on with Jim Maxwell? Did you come on with Jim?
No, look, no one wants to watch me coming on with Jim Maxwell. They want to watch Jim Maxwell. They don't want to listen to me. Honestly, they don't.
But I just sat there. I couldn't. I, Mr. Talker that I am, couldn't get a word in. Those two were going for it, weren't they?
Brilliant.
That was the first time they saw each other in 16 years.
Yeah. And
they were reliving the 2005 match, where they were seated, what they experienced. Wasn't that special?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a special match. It's a special series.
And quite frankly, as far as Australian selectors are concerned, or the Australian media is concerned, I hope they actually view my video. Why? Because the insightfulness that David Gravely could give to the way that Josh Inglis and Marcus Harris are playing in England was really interesting. And he mentioned that he thought Marcus Harris should go to number 3, that certainly Warner still stays opener, but Bukowski, if fit, goes in as opener, with the potential of Khawaja. Second drop, Smith. Third drop, Labuschagne. David's advice was to put Labuschagne into a middle order because we are lacking one, and then bring Green in, and then Payne in the bowlers. You know what? That's a pretty good Australian side. But bringing in Marcus Harris, who's getting big 150s in cricket in England against English bowlers must put him in some mental mindset to play well, even in Australia against England. And that could be a very clever move. Giving us another bit of depth, not putting Marcus Harris down at 5. He's not off number 5. He's an upper order batsman. But Labuschagne could drop down, not drop, but be positioned a bit down the order so as to give some depth to the batting lineup. That would be, there is a selection that David Graveney, who is a selector, has offered. And Jimmy Maxwell had a good listen to that. It was very interesting to hear that. And Josh Inglis, who's going to replace Tim Payne as the keeper when Tim Payne eventually goes, that's the selection. It's very good. You know what? I would actually like to see Khawaja captain Australia.
But he's
Because he
not
captained Queensland.
is he? That's the problem. He's not in the side because he's not good enough.
No, I think it's more to do with he wasn't selected rather than not being good enough.
Okay, I know you're Khawaja, but I watch him and I think from an Englishman, I'd like Khawaja in the side because I think we're going to get him out. Whereas I don't think that of Labuschagne. I don't think that of Smith always. I don't always think it of Warner, to be fair, because I think he's a good player too. But every time I've seen Khawaja, I think, "Ooh, we've got a chance here." But he's been in and out the side, so he's had problems.
I was surprised he didn't play against India. When Warner was injured, he was out of the test. It should have been Khawaja at least. If he wasn't in the side, he should have replaced Warner. Yeah, but they made Wade open in Test cricket. That was a bit surprising. Yeah.
Oh, look, Wade. Oh my God. Just don't start me on Wade, please. I mean, he shouldn't be anywhere near a Test side. He shouldn't be near any format. He's actually, in a bizarre way, jumped over Alex Carey to be the #1 keeper for the World Cup. What a
Norman, me and
mistake
Naresh think Wade is one of the best players in the world and should be in the side. You not agree with me and Naresh on that? Wade's fantastic.
Norman. Norman is going to block us.
Wade's manner is abysmal. I mean, he's got so many. He doesn't shut up. I know Pant doesn't shut up, but I actually don't think that it helps anyone out the way that he plays. I mean, really, I've got my severe doubts about that man. And I think that's where their mistake starts and finishes, to be honest with you. Anyway.
Yeah,
so I was just
discussion, Norman, at the end of the game on the Sky with the Sky team, thinking about the next test, just changing the subject quickly. Shane Warne was of the opinion that if Butler misses the test, Bairstow could take the gloves. That's not a problem for England. Bairstow taking the gloves. Liam Livingstone could come in and bat at 6 or 7. He is in sparkling form. I don't know if you've seen any of Liam Livingstone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Now, I think he could play Test cricket. I really do. I think his bowling's okay, work in progress. But as a batter, he could come in as a batter and just give you that second spin option.
So, did you say? Hang on. Are you saying that Shane Warne has said that he thinks that
if Butler misses out, then Bairstow takes the gloves, and that means you've got a slot in the middle order, and he would bring Livingstone in.
Interesting.
I mean, Livingstone in the 100. I know it's 100, not Test cricket, but bloody hell, has he been on fire? If you haven't seen any of his highlights of his batting. Jesus, he hit a ball. They measured it 120 meters or something. He hit it out of Headingley in the game over the new stand, and they measured it 120. It ended in the rugby ground next door. It was one of the biggest hits ever.
I saw that. I think we both saw that, didn't we?
But I think that could happen, that Butler may not play, but they'll get in Oli Pope. He's in the reserves. I think he's fit now. They may get Oli Pope as an additional batsman.
He's played a couple of games.
Hang on. Let me I've lost the plot here. Why are we changing the England batting lineup?
If Butler misses out, because
of his wife's pending pregnancy. Okay. So Ben Folkes is definitely not available, and you're saying bring Bairstow in. I would not bring an Ollie Pope. He, like Lawrence, doesn't impress me. Liam Livingstone, why not? Listen to Shane Warne for once. I kind of see a good point there, because I'm not impressed with Pope, despite his domestic form, or Lawrence. I don't think they're the right players. I'm sorry. What little I've seen of Pope, he's done nothing at the Test level. Domestic level, yes, but Test level, no. I think they've got to look away from him for the moment. Bairstow is definitely worthy of being. Look at his catch in second slip. What a magnificent catch that was. Wasn't it brilliant to get rid of
the thing is for England, what it would do on the pitch that's likely to take spin more than any other in this series at the Oval, and it will have pace and bounce, but it might well spin a bit, is that they wouldn't be weakening the side at all, I don't think, because Bairstow naturally takes the gloves, and Livingston is batting is good. He's a good batter, just have a word, and he can bowl spin as well. So you've got that second spinner coming in without weakening your batting. It gives India more of a problem, I think, because they'd lose their full seamer.
So hang on, but there is discussion about Jack Leach. What's going to happen with him? Is he?
I was coming to that. With the top four now scoring in this game, England top four gave the runs. Will that give them confidence of getting in Jack Leach now? Because Oval would be a turning track.
Yeah. No, it might well do. He's been unlucky, isn't he? Because he bowled well in India, and he's bowled well in winter, and he's a good bowler. He really is a really good bowler, Jack Leach. But he doesn't bat brilliantly well. I can't read that, Norman.
Well, want me to read it? The Vernon family always ever ready to come love on Indians' loss.
Yeah, happy to join when England win.
Amaya More.
I have been on various times.
All right, Amaya More, who was responsible for this horrible batting display? Batting coach, or the players, or Kohli for skipping next sessions? Well, does Kohli skip next session? I think that they were always vulnerable this morning. Both Kohli and Pujara were vulnerable to the new ball. This was like another. This was basically a new innings for those two.
Yeah.
Despite their 91 and 45, they might as well be starting from zero. And
Start again, Norman. You're right.
Yeah, but in particular, Kohli continues. He was doing a good job letting balls go, and then he got a few leg side balls, hit a couple of fours. Then he lost his thoughts and went straight back to his same reaching out outside off. It's almost like he got the confidence from those two leg side shots, and he thought he could take on the offside again, making the same fatal mistake. He must have in his mindset: go forward, attack the ball, bat on ball.
Yeah.
His whole batting has been in that manner. In England, you just can't do that, and it takes a dedication of Rohit Sharma, who to me has proven beyond belief his testability. I'm extremely impressed with Rohit Sharma. He, out of all the Indian batsmen, I don't care what other scores have been, out of Rahul or Perch Pujara, Rohit Sharma has been the most impressive Indian batsman in the team, in my opinion. Hence, he's the second highest run scorer for the year, and it's proven. He's consistently he hasn't got hundreds, but he's done his job as an opener, big time. And I think Kohli needs to bloody well stop. He just has this desire to play the ball when it's not there.
Did you see when Sky put on the graphic of him last night leaving the ball just outside off stump, and this morning they showed exactly the same balls going down and he was playing at them? It was a very interesting graphic. They showed they put the beehive with the little dot and through it where the ball was, and he was leaving them. And this morning he played at them. But it's hard,
And I agree, Norman. New day, new ball. And it's like Pujara and Kohli coming in as openers. But I agree. It's playing into the bowlers. They want him to middle few balls so that they can again test him outside the off stump, which you said it happened. They bowled him on the pads, couple of them. He felt confident. He felt good. And he just wanted to hit every ball, or wanting to at least get the bat on the ball, and that is little risky. And he nearly got out the same way Anderson got him in the first inning, just missed the edge. That the only difference happened was that it missed the edge. So outside the off stump, it's been just too vulnerable throughout the batting lineup. The collapses in single session is becoming too frequent. I think it's too much of an inconsistency, and the only way you can stop it by making changes, and the changes need to be made now. Even if it is one, you need to make the change.
Now, at this point in time, Rohit Sharma, Rahul, and Pujara are not to be dropped. How can you drop Pujara?
I agree. I agree. The three remain, but KL Rahul, we need to be very, very careful. Out of the 6 innings, his first 3 innings gave good scores. The next three have given single digit. So we need to keep close watch. Do we continue KL on the top, or do we get him down at number 5 and get Mayank up to open?
Okay, that's a great point. That's a very good point. If you're going to make a change with Rahane, then keep Rahul but drop him down the order and have Agarwal go in. Correct. Or, for that matter, consider Vihari. It's going to have to be a direct swap of Vihari for Rahane or Agarwal come in. Sky should not be brought into this side. That is a mistake.
Not at this point of time. Not at this point of time.
I change the keeper. I change the keeper.
Who would you replace the keeper? Would you put rid of Zaha in the side?
Yeah.
Oh, gee, his batting performances were even worse than Pujara, to be honest. So, with some punts. Oh, would you drop punts? Ooh, that's a.
I would bring Jadeja ahead of Pant in the batting lineup, but Pant could be on notice period that if this is how he's playing, then Test cricket is not for him.
Did you hear David Graveney talk about that though? And I thought, no, this is where we need to listen to a head of selectors what he says. His argument is don't change Jadeja and Pant. Why? Because it makes both batsmen wonder why they were changed in the order. And actually, that could have more of a destabilising effect than we can imagine. Interesting theory. That's a selector for you with great experience who's advising not to do that. Now, I find that interesting. Naresh, I agree with you. I think Punt should be dropped one down and Jadeja put up. But that's implying almost that Punt's been dropped. And is that going to really succeed? I think there's an interesting mental thing that both batsmen will then not be at their best, not just one, but both. And I respect what David Graveney says because of his experience. I don't necessarily agree, but I have to respect what he said. And there must be a method to that madness. When you start changing batting orders, it's almost like you've changed the mental state of those players. It can be dangerous. And even when we're talking about Rahul now, if you're going to drop him down the order, that's almost penalising him despite having scored a century early in the series.
Yeah, but you've got to remember with Rahul, he was, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was on record before the series as saying he didn't want to open anymore. He was happier coming in lower down the order, and he sort of got shoved into opening by all the injuries that they got. He wasn't even.
No, I don't think he refused opening. He just didn't do well overseas as an opener and couldn't make to the side. I think he has agreed to open to make it to the 11 purely because the other openers were not available.
Yeah. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been in the team, would he?
He wouldn't be in the side. Yeah, he was always. He had made to this side as a standby middle order.
Yeah.
Look,
I think the right, Norman. I think KL Rahul coming in at 5 because he leaves. He's got the right mindset for playing in England. And unfortunately, Rahani's it's difficult. You know, he doesn't look in form at all, does he? He doesn't. So, and get another opener. But it's going to be hard for whoever comes in because they've had no cricket. They've had absolutely zero cricket.
Well, that's a great thing. And I mean, we keep talking about again, listening to Jim and David, who you learn a lot from. Jim said that you walk into the dressing room with a red ball and go, "Hi guys, this is actually a red ball. Do you remember it? Have you seen it?" That's true. No one's getting any red ball practice at all. And David Graveney was asked about the scheduling of England with red ball and white ball cricket. There's been a tradition over the last few years for the two games not to be played at the same time, right? But what Dave is suggesting is, and I think Jim agreed, is play the red ball games when you're supposed to. And if certain players are not available, so be it. But you've got to maintain the regular red ball play, even if it overlaps scheduling, because not so much only international, but domestic cricket, because India, apparently, in the Ranji Trophy and the other IPLs or whatever, they run them concurrently. So players are consistently getting red ball and also white ball.
No. IPL window is May, June, and the season ends with that. The season starts with Ranji. Like this calendar is out. November, we will see Ranji Trophy. And at the end of the cricketing season in the summer is when IPL happens.
Okay. So, what I'm getting at is the red ball schedule goes on regardless. And if it overlaps at any stage with any white ball, especially in England, so be it. because what that does is it gives consistent red ball exposure to those coming through to be selected for the future. Because at the moment, it's an oasis. And on top of that, you've got the bubble, which also blocks players from playing red ball cricket or any cricket. Because they're sitting around playing computer games while they wait for a game of cricket. There's a distinct problem there too. What you could argue is, why not have a sub-bubble, Reg, a sub-bubble, where they actually still in a bubble, but they're playing within a bubble of a group of people which they're playing at the other level at. That means there's still meet bubble quarantine. Okay, there'll be a transition into the other bubble, but they're still meeting non-exposure to anyone else outside of that. That could be a solution, because at least it allows players to play cricket while they're waiting to be selected. Does that make sense? There's something about that. They've got to think of something.
We used to do it. I mean, we always used to play the red ball all throughout our summer, but the white ball cricket was given massive priority.
Oops.
And we went and won the 2020 the World Cup, which was what we wanted to do. That was the whole idea of changing it. And now it's gone too far the other way, Norman. So yeah.
Well, the 100, no matter what you think of it being a good, has caused some major grief with scheduling.
Norman, it was 3 weeks. They will be able to fit in a 3-week competition from start to finish. It's only 3 weeks. They got it done and dusted. You know, they can cancel red ball cricket for 3 weeks in the middle of end of July, early August. And it was every night. There was a game on every night for 3 weeks, and it was done. And I don't think that's going to be their problem. I think it's everything else that they've got to squeeze in and look at. The 100 won't go anyway. I can guarantee it. It went down pretty well. It was I think the ECB will say that was a big success. And I think
I'm not suggesting for a minute they get rid of it. I'm not saying they get rid of it. I didn't say that. But we have to look at the scheduling as what I'm talking about, and that this overlap has to occur.
But for 3 weeks,
and some players,
it didn't go on like the IPL, which goes on. Am I talking about 6-7 weeks, Naresh? It's about right.
Yeah.
6 weeks. Yeah.
You know, that's a bigger hit. This was honestly done in 3 weeks, and the ladies and the guys were done on the same day, which is great, brilliant. Whoever came up with that idea, apparently it was by mistake, not by mistake, but forced because of COVID and venue problems of having the games and cameras. So they decided to run the girls' game before the guys' games, and people buy a ticket that qualifies for both. And that proved massive success, absolutely massive success. So that won't change, and great for the women's game. God, the women's game's improving a lot in this country.
It is around the world. I mean, Australia. Look, let's be honest. Australian women's cricket is. No wonder Australian women's cricket, and for that matter, English women's cricket, are really the best in the world.
In 2016 T20 World Cup was played in this manner of women and men playing simultaneous daytime and evening, and then you have single ticket, because I think I remember being in Mumbai for the semi-finals, India versus West Indies. Daytime was the women, and so. It works very well, in a short format. It really works well,
It really works well. You know, you've got to get the crowds in, and once the crowd and watch women's game, they're going to realise, all right, it's not the men's game. It's not got the power, but it's got. Do you know what? Watching the game slightly slower at the bowling, you can appreciate sometimes the skill a bit more when it's a little bit. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just.
Oh, look, there's more technicality about English women's cricket. They tend to. Not England, but general women's cricket, there's more of a correctness to their play. They don't play too many unnatural shots. They tend to respect the other side. You rarely see a fight between teams, which is interesting.
Fights, Norman. I can't remember seeing a fight in men's cricket too often. The sledge. There's not a lot of sledging. Oh, rugby league, Norman. It's not the Rabbitohs going out there.
Well, actually, one of our players, Latrell
David
Mitchell.
Warner. Sorry, David Warner. Yeah.
Our star rugby league player, Latrell Mitchell, who's a fullback for South, absolutely clobbered a guy yesterday in a game, and looks like he's going to get 9 weeks on the sideline. and he won't be able to play the grand final, which we're really upset about.
Imagine if Joe Root went up to Virat Kohli and gave him a right-hander in the middle of the game.
Hang on, Joe Root, and was it Warner had a bit of a set to when a
Warner did. I'm not sure Joe Root did anything. Warner went up to him in the bar and whacked him, didn't he? That was what happened. I'm not sure. You can't see Root getting involved. He's like, he's tiny, isn't he? He's not.
Hang on, he's got a bit of a mouth on him. You saw as he was walking off the field at Lords. He and Coley were at each other's throats a bit with the words. I tell you.
Yeah, but I'm not sure he would have started much in a bar with David. I'm not sure he was. I think he was the innocent party in that, from what I've read.
Oh, typical. How do you know that? How do you know? How do you know he didn't? How do you know he didn't egg Warner on relentlessly to the point where Warner retaliated? How do you know that? They know Warner's a hothead. They know he's a hothead. So if you telling me that Root wouldn't have egged him on the way that Quinton?
I just guess it would have. The facts would have come out a little bit if that was the case. These things tend to get reported, and people who are there tend to say what happened, don't they? Warner headbutted him, didn't he?
But Quinton de Kock stirred Warner up. I tell you what, there was a bit of stirring up going there. I mean, look, Warner's an easy target because he's a junkyard dog. If you stir Warner up, he'll come back and growl at you, I can assure you.
But we've all played cricket. I've played cricket as you guys have for 30 years. And you know on the circuit, because you tend to play in the leagues every year, you know there are certain players who, if you can get under their skin, they're going to react. So you try and get under their skin because it puts them off. And if you can do that to Warner, great. I'll be doing it. I'll be absolutely talking to him all the time if I thought it was going to annoy him and upset him.
I've got no doubt that would have. All right, let's get back to this match. Naresh, I want you to take... Okay, I was so impressed with India yesterday, but I'm so unimpressed today. England bowled very good lines, and it was interesting to hear James Anderson say he was turning up today expecting to be in the field all day. He was... That's an interesting statement from James Anderson to come out the way. They were fearing that India would really take them on. Okay? So it just seemed... Yeah.
What he meant, I think what he meant was that yesterday was really good bowling conditions. And let's face it, whereas on the first day, India snicked them, yesterday, they missed them. I mean, there was lots of playing and missing. They played, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to disrespect, but there was a lot of playing and missing. The bowling was pretty good, but they didn't get out. But what Anderson meant was this morning, and that was under grey skies yesterday. This morning, it was no clouds. It was bright, sunny day, and it looked great to bat on. And they nicked him. They didn't nick him last night. They nicked him today.
All the first 3 days, first session had cloud cover. Today there was absolutely no cloud cover. It looked flat. Yeah.
And the wicket did a little bit, but it didn't do a lot. I mean, they just bowled in good air. You know, you would have fancied batting on it, as most sides on for a day 4 pitch. Yes. I think there were runs to be had there today.
Runs to be had, yeah.
You know,
well, Pujara's dismissal was extremely annoying. That was a bizarre thing to do.
It was a good nut, though, Norman. No credit to the bowler. He's good Robinson, isn't he?
He's very good. Well, I mean, Shane Warne compared him to Hazelwood in terms of metronome action. He is good. He's going to go well in Australia too, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an in-swinger, and then he's got the ball that nips away as his stock ball. I mean, that's a good skill.
Yeah, but there's a technical. You don't pad up like that. You don't pad up. You either use the...
It hooped late, didn't it? I'm going to give him a bit of... It did a little bit. It came late to him, but yeah. It's early morning.
But I would say, Norman, an opportunity lost. Okay, India was 78 all out. England was far ahead in the game. Even today, going into the morning session, England was ahead in the game. But it was an opportunity for Indian batters to spend time to get the confidence back, you know, and that opportunity got lost. Yesterday, we gained that opportunity, but again, today, we lost it. So it's 1-1 as a series scorecard, but I think England now has the psychological advantage going ahead because as I said, one, the kind of collapses we are having frequently, and second, this outside the off-stump vulnerability is just too much exposed now.
Yeah,
I think it's going to get a little bit tougher, Naresh. I would think that Wokes will come back in at the Oval. Curran. I don't think Wood will play. He might do, but I wouldn't play Wood necessarily. Although the Oval's pacing bounce, I'll give him another week, and because Manchester will probably be the fastest wicket of the summer here, Old Trafford tends to be the quickest about wicket now in the UK, and I think they'll want Wood for that. And I don't see them playing back-to-back tests. So I think look, this is just what I think. I think Wokes comes in for Curran, and I don't think that makes the bowling any weaker. In fact, I think that gives Indian batsmen a few even more headaches, because Wokes, although he's now been out for a while injured, he's been bowling really well. I know our Indian viewers wouldn't have seen a lot of him this year. Just take my word for it. He was the best bowler in the country by a mile before he was injured.
How did he play in this match? He just came back. That's the question I'm asking.
He played a County Twos game, and he got 3 for, I think. Last I heard, he had 3 for, and he played last night in the 2020 Blast quarter-final, which they lost. But at least he's getting him competitive overs under his belt. And you know that net practice is all well and good, but you need to be in the middle competitive. I'll be surprised if he doesn't play, Norman. I really would be very surprised.
But do you think Anderson would play all the games?
Yeah.
I mean, he'll play the last one. Lancashire is home ground, but
I think he will.
Play, yeah.
I think he will. I'll tell you, I was thinking about something. Norman's not going to like this, Naresh. I'll just talk to Naresh now. Norman, just ignore this bit. If Anderson gets another 10 wickets in the next 2 tests, say, which he could, and he goes to Australia, maybe picks up 12 over the 5 tests, I'm being really conservative, that puts him coming into the next English summer at around about 655 wickets. He's no way is he retiring yet. I can guarantee it. He's going to play next summer here. Now, if he gets a summer next year where he gets 25 wickets or in 7 tests, which again could do, it puts him ever so close to Shane Warne, Norman.
Okay, so he's on 630 at the moment. Okay, yep. He's got 2 tests to go in this series if he plays.
Yeah.
Then he's got 5 test matches in Australia. Okay, that's 7.
Could get.
And then what's after that?
Then they go to the West Indies. And let's face it, the West Indies for seeing sort of Jimmy Anderson at the moment is a heaven for him, isn't it? That all those seamers have been picking up loads of wickets in the West Indies. The wickets have been doing a bit, haven't they, for the seamers? He could come back to our next summer being within 15, 20 of Warne.
Can I just say something?
He could.
How many wickets has Anderson taken in tests, ODIs, and T20s? Have you added it up?
No.
Okay, I've got it right in front of my face here.
Well,
at the moment, collectively, he's got 917. Go and look at what Shane Warne's got for all 3. Okay, I'm being honest. I'm not trying to discount his efforts in the test bowling arena. I'm not denying that, but he's nowhere near Murali or Shane Warne in both. Okay, nowhere near.
I knew you wouldn't like it.
And on top of that, he has played 20 odd tests more than Shane Warne. So why wouldn't he get close if he's bowling well?
He's a team bowler. He just can't bowl the number.
No, but hang on.
But you know, Murali and Shane Warne were leading spinners even in ODIs for their respective team. I think Anderson didn't play much of ODIs.
Didn't cut it in those formats.
Yeah. And other thing, Norman, today I saw very interesting stats is his inability to take wickets in the second inning.
Interesting. I saw that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I brought that up actually because Bahram Irani had it up and he was on the messaging. I brought it up and I brought up with David Gravely and David Gravely and Jimmy Maxwell tore that apart.
But he didn't bowl bad, did he? It's not that he's bowling bad. He bowled well this morning. He just
but I'm just saying.
It probably means that the earlier part of the test, say day 1, day 2, suits him more than getting into the test. Where batting gets really easy. Yeah.
But an opening bowler who opens the bowling for your team, the first innings is extremely crucial. Second innings is important too, but the first innings is where you really have to show yourself. Same with batting. It's the first innings of a test match where a true batter needs to show his form. Second innings, it's still important, but not as important, unless it's saving a match. So that's an interesting point. James Anderson's consistently got 17 or whatever opening the innings for his team in the first innings is phenomenal. Although his second innings is not as good. But after you've taken 5 from the first innings, you set the match up, haven't you?
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, you have made the impact already. You have got the game under control if you do well in first inning. Yeah.
The one point I make about Anderson and on one-day cricket is that England retired him and Broad early from one-day and cricket and 2020 cricket so that they could extend their Test careers. And they would
It doesn't matter. Statistically, whether they've been retired or not, the wickets are there. It just means that if they've been retired from the short format, that means their Test career has gone longer. Yeah. Which is the same scenario, really. It's the same scenario.
But for a seam bowler to go on as he has at his age is I mean, we're arguing about the greats of the game. I mean, Warne and Murali and Anderson will past our lifetimes, guys, be seen as the great bowlers, along with I would say McGrath and Kumble. You know, these are forever. Who's going to get close to him? Who's going to get close to him? I don't know. Can't see anyone at the moment.
No.
You know.
Okay, I'm just going to bring up some stats here. Well, but what they're showing, this can't be right. Did Shane Warne not play any T20 internationals?
I would have thought he was retired, Norman. Didn't he finish in 205? 207? Did he 207?
Yeah, 207 and I think 208 he took over the Rajasthan IPL team. That's the only T20. Okay. He's not played any internationals. Yeah.
2020.
But he's still got 1,001 wickets with just Tests and ODIs.
Well, Anderson's not far behind him then.
917. So no, but
close.
But first class, okay, all right.
Murali, I'm guessing Murali took more. He paid loads, didn't he?
I was just a bit uncertain about that. I would like to have known a bit more about that. I'm just curious what the story is there, because that's I haven't checked Morley yet. I'll go and check Morley in a minute.
They interviewed Anderson straight after the game. I don't know if that showed.
I saw that.
Watching, he is not retiring. You can see what he said. Everything he said is not retiring anytime soon. All right, he's going to put it this way. He's going to go to Australia. You can guarantee it. He's going to Australia. We know that anyway. But it wasn't sounding as though that's going to be it for him. What did you think, Naresh? Did you hear the interview? They didn't ask.
I didn't hear the interview.
All right, okay. So I didn't doubt that he would go to Australia. I didn't doubt that he would go to Australia. I thought he would do that.
But what he said was, they said, "Well, Bold, how do you get yourself ready and everything?" He said, "I absolutely love Test cricket. I'm hungry for it. I want to keep playing it." Yeah. And I promise you, he's still about. He's going to be about. If he retires, and I think Norman would agree with this, probably he'll want to do it on home soil. So if he's thinking he'll probably play here till certainly play.
I mean, realistically, end of next season at home will be his swan song. Has to be. I mean, if he plays any longer.
From Warne, if he's 15 wickets off Warne, wouldn't you look? I don't know James Anderson at all, but I would imagine that you look at your legacy a little bit when you've had a career that he's had, and I think that he might fancy, if he's that close, carrying on. What do you think, Naresh? I think he might.
Yeah, could be playing only home series. He could play only at home. I mean, 2 seasons of home Test series. 3 or 4 Test matches. If he's 15, 20 wickets away.
I don't know where we're going next winter. If we're going to India or Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, he's not going to. He may as well not take him. But if it's South Africa or New Zealand or somewhere like that, he might fancy a few wickets.
Oh God! This is getting too much. If he's smart, he'll retire on top. Next summer
you retired him before this series, Norman. You're on record as saying you shouldn't be playing this series, and he's pretty good.
With it. The fact is, he should retire on top. He should retire on top.
But he's still on top.
If he keeps playing and he becomes a walking stick old man, then he's making a bloody big mistake. Just to beat a record, it looks pathetic.
You're still playing?
Huh?
You're still playing?
He won't beat Mike. Okay, I'm going to say it now. He's not going to beat Shane Warne. I'm going to say it now. Okay. He's not going to be. He'd have to have everything go perfectly. He's going to take several fifers in Australia, And, Adelaide Oval, he'll do well, maybe Melbourne, but he won't do well on all the grounds.
Well,
it's...
I just don't think, as I said, he has to. I think if he takes 12 wickets in the series, which I think would be realistic.
This series?
No, in the Ashes, if he only takes 12 wickets, he takes a couple in the West Indies, he could be only 20 or 30, maybe 30.
No, he's 630 now.
Yeah, 70.
Right? So he's 78, 79 to go past him. 79. Okay. Where are they going to come from?
Didn't Murray take 700, or have I got that wrong? Am I doing?
No, Rory took 800. Warne took 708.
708. So I thought it was 700. Okay.
So we're talking about 79 wickets he'll need to pass Warne.
Yeah.
Where is he going to do it in 12 months? That'll break all sorts of bloody records.
I didn't say do it in 12 months. I said that he might be getting close at the end of next English summer.
Okay.
At the end of next English summer.
The next two tests, he could take another 5. I reckon next 2 tests, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say he takes 10 wickets.
Yeah.
All right? Which is a lot. Okay? A lot.
Well,
that's 640. In the Ashes series, I'll give him 20. That's 660. He still has to get 49 domestically.
But he go to the West Indies, Norman. The West Indies, look at the test this last 2 years in the West Indies. All of the wickets have been taken by the seamers. The little medium pace dibby seamers too. The West Indies.
Yeah. It's going to be, everything has to go perfectly for Anderson. He has to be fit.
And badly for you, Norman.
Uninjured, perfect conditions for him to go close, okay? Because if he plays beyond next summer season in England, he's pushing his luck in terms of everything.
Yes, the next big injury he gets, it'll be probably it, won't it? If he does break down, he's not coming back too easily.
Why is he waiting for his next injury to break down? Why you don't need? You need to walk around the ground happily with a ball in your hand. I've just retired. I'm on top of my game. I'm the best fast bowler ever already.
Would you, having the way he just bowled in this series, would you say to him retire then? Because he is
not
clearly still.
I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt till next summer. Okay, I think that's as long as he should go. But I tell you what, he is risking breaking down in Australia, injuring himself where he can't bowl again, and not getting the opportunity to have a farewell at home. He's risking that. Okay, I don't care how fit he might appear to be. He plays in Australia some of 5 Test matches with all the crap that goes on. Right, he could easily injure himself badly enough. In some way, shape, or form, he's risking it. And then he goes back to England. He'll be in a wheelchair trying to celebrate the record.
Poor Jimmy. Poor Jimmy.
I mean, but would you
like?
But
Norman, if you see Joe Root now, how he's utilizing short spells, 4 to 5 overs. Yes, rather first inning was just one spell. He took 3 early wickets in 8 overs, and he was not required to bowl again. So I think that's another thing which Joe Root will keep in mind if his second line pacers are really getting effective. And in this game, Robinson did well. Overton was good. So that helps Joe Root on how to be conservative as far as Anderson is concerned. Like yesterday, 2 overs 20, he removed him off the attack. Just 2 overs 20 in between. When he was bowling on the legs of Pujara, and Pujara was looking very different than normal. So. I think it's all on how Joe Root wants to utilize Anderson and how he can help him, get more games going.
Naresh has got a good point there, Norman, because what Root has certainly in Robinson and Overton is they are big, strong lads, and they can bowl longer spells. Have you noticed? They traditionally over here, they've not had injury problems, those two. They are strong boys. They really are. And they can. Robinson bowled 8, didn't he, this morning, straight off?
Yeah, straight off.
And I think I'm right in saying I know Ollie Robinson when he was young. I told you before he played with Chris. He's a big, strong boy. And I don't think he's got a big, some bowlers have problems. Like Mark Wood, we know, has got problems. But I think, so that helps, doesn't it? To bowl Anderson shorter spells. When you've got bowlers who can bowl longer spells with you, So,
yeah. I mean, the replacement for James Anderson is already there. Sakib Mahmood is almost an identical bowler to what he is. So we have to consider.
I wish he was, Norman.
Well, but at the moment, he looks the goods. I'm sorry, he looks the goods.
Okay. but he looks the goods. He's looked the goods in white ball cricket. He hasn't really played the red ball stuff. But I agree with you. I think he's the coming man. I think Robinson's became a man if you look at that analogy, because Robinson.
Well, you've got Moon and Robinson could be the opening bowling. Okay, with Overton, obviously Wood.
I think Wokes he's not that old. Wokes. I think he's only 29. I think 29.
I know. I mean, yeah, of course. You got a lot of depth in your English bowling line. There's no doubt. England are well stocked.
So, Naresh, as far as India, do you think that they will take the plunge and bring in Ashwin and with Jadeja and bowl have three seamers?
They should, but now again with a batting collapse, the way we have seen, for me, Ashwin should have played this game also, because India was on a high winning Lords. But the problem was how to get Joe Root early. So get in that variation of getting Ashwin in. But again, you saw Joe Root getting 100 now. So Ashwin should come in at Oval. And maybe I think Ishant would be left out, because Ishant is having a similar problem in second innings. Ishant is not that effective in second innings.
Yeah, but so didn't eat. Sorry, I've got a battery. Charged my battery. He struggled the whole test. Ishant, his rhythm. I need to. Bear with me, guys. Sorry, his rhythm was gone, wasn't it? The whole test.
Yeah, whole test. Yeah, he didn't look even running in the way we normally see him running in, and even the arm was not fully going from the top. So that he could be carrying a niggle. But yeah, I think Ishant may make way for Ashwin, and there could be a possibility of Shardul Thakur coming back. But yeah, I think they need to sort out. How would you do that?
How would you bring Shardul Thakur in as well?
So maybe Jadeja doesn't play the next game. If Vihari comes in, then you have Ashwin and Vihari, but both are similar kind of spinners. But
they can't weaken their batting anymore. I know everyone's going to say, look how well the tail did at Lords. But in this test, I think they got a grand total, the last four, of under 20 in the two innings.
It can't be consistent,
They did brilliantly at Lords, but you can't pick a side hoping that Bumrah and Shami come to the party. And they can't weaken their batting. I said it after the Lords. I was on with Norman. I said, for God's sake, Norman, they cannot keep picking four number 11s. A bit harsh to Shami, but and get away with it. It's going to bite them, and it bit them twice in this test match. Although it's not their fault. They're not there to bat. But you look at the way Overton, Curran, and the other guy bats well too, doesn't he? There's runs there, and they can't afford to weaken it. If they take Jadeja out, I don't think Ashwin's as good a batter as Jadeja.
He's not.
I think he can bat. Don't get me wrong.
So probably then one change, Ashwin for Ishant, and then probably Vihari or Mayank for Rahane. Probably go with two changes in this test.
Yeah, and that lengthens the batting a little bit, possibly. It certainly doesn't weaken it anymore, because Ashwin's a better player, obviously, than Ishant by miles as a bat. I like Ravi as a batter. I think he's.
Look, I'm impressed with. See, there's a fundamental situation here that I want to make clear. Indian bowlers, as like any other bowler, they need to improve their batting overall. Admittedly, Shami and that had a good old go, Bumrah had a good go. But there's an educational, cultural thing that needs to occur now with players playing Test cricket. If they're opening bowlers or they're mainly frontline bowlers, they have to spend time getting their batting together. There's more of an emphasis on their batting, more and more. Not to be an all-rounder, no, but to bat more. And the Australian team, when Steve Waugh was in charge, he went out of his way to improve the batting of Gillespie. Even Glenn McGrath, you name it. He went out of his way to make sure that they realised that they're batting for their country. They are virtually in the top 11 batters in the country. Even though they're bowlers, they are also expected to bat like someone who's in the top 11.
Norman, I'm sure they do practice. It's just that they're just probably not good as a batter. It's just one of those. I'm sure they work on it really hard. Sure they do. But if you're not good at it, you're just not good at it. You couldn't.
Well, that used to be the way you do it, but I think it's changing.
You know, how good will we be if we rock the Test match and faced Anderson and Robinson? I'm pretty sure we wouldn't do much good either.
No, okay. No, but I'm just saying to you, there's an evolution happening where bowlers are never to be treated as all-rounders, but they are to be seen as better batters, and they have to start.
Case in point, isn't he? He's clearly not a batter, but he's worked at it, and he can stick around. He can stick around, can't he? And he's done that by sheer hard work and guts, isn't he? Maybe
Ishan does it. Ashwin has done well. Ashwin, even domestic cricket, he's got a couple of hundreds.
Well, actually, Ashwin was an opening batsman. Ashwin was an opening batsman. Let's move Ashwin to one side. I'm talking about Ishan Sharma, Bumrah, Shami, and Siraj. Okay, they're all. I'm sorry, they're Bunnings. Okay, they are Bunnings. Yeah. Okay, whereas Ashwin is an actual opening batter who bowls spin, who has moved more into the spin department, but he was an opening batter. Jadeja was a known batter, so they're different. But I'm talking about genuine bowlers, whether it's Navdeep Saini or anyone else India brings up, they've got to start to bat. Whereas Overton certainly can bat. I think he's got more capability than just the average bowler.
Oh, Overton's decent. He bats 7 or 8 in county cricket, I think, and he gets runs. He's a constant scorer. Robinson gets runs as well in county cricket.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
These guys score runs. They're no mugs. They're no mugs.
I mean, even Broad used to bat well. Broad used to be a really good bat, but he lost his way a bit, didn't he?
Well, got hit in the head. Got hit through the head, through the helmet. Imagine that. The ball went through the grill, hit him in the face. You know, that's pretty bad. He's lost it since then. He got 178 against Pakistan, Broad, in Test match. He's got 170.
I know. I remember that. I remember it vividly.
He still clouts it, Broad. He gets out low scores a few times, but he's still good for a quick 30.
I think he's lost his way. I think that head hit lost his way because he was much better. Anderson's the only real bunny in that batting lineup. Let's be honest.
Well, he's better than a bunny, Anderson. He's got a Test 80. Got 80.
Yeah, come on.
I wouldn't say. Yeah, I've seen worse number 11s than Anderson.
Oh no, we've all seen worse number 11. Okay. India should not change too much because maybe Ashwin can come in, but nothing more. Forget about this game. I agree with Robinson a bit. I don't think we need to go berserk. I really don't. I think, again, Pujara's kept his position. Rahul and the like are in there. It's the only change. Is Rahane going to be changed? Who's going to do that? It's the difficult one. I really think I'm leaning more on the side not being changed, to be honest. Only the Ashwins.
I think they will.
Norman, after Adelaide, India made 4 or 5 changes. You know, we need to take that decision now. You know, we cannot stretch this because the collapses are too frequent in one session. And that's why it's the minimum is 1 or 2 changes in a side that is needed in the batting order. I think the bowlers have been delivering in this. If this was a 3-test series, you can say, okay, Rahul and Rohit Sharma gave you 40 plus average, but rest are all below 25. So you would, if you're going into next series with some other team, you would be taking a different side. So that
they're going home to play against New Zealand next, which is and then they're playing South Africa away.
After the World Cup is New Zealand,
They're going to New Zealand, are they?
Yeah.
No, New Zealand comes home to India after the World Cup, and then India goes to South Africa.
Well, that won't be easy in South Africa for them, you know.
Yeah.
The South African bowling attack's on the improve, isn't it? Who's the new quick bowler? He's tasty, isn't he? He's quick. Oh, get his name. Can't remember.
Sanket J seems to be very much against Livingston playing for tests.
Great, but this is Sanchez saying he'll be calling for Sky to be playing in the Test match, and Sky's the same, isn't he? Sky's a white ball specialist.
Yeah, there's a few comments which I don't know what's going. Congratulations, England. Fair enough. Diction Anand has said. So I don't think he will not retire early. Okay, I agree with you, Naresh. You are right. Oh, there you go.
Naresh, I think is always right.
I love this Garrick Banker.
He talks rubbish. He talks rubbish. This bloke.
I think India should stop touring England. It's a waste of time and money. Tour after tour for 34. Horses for courses, Uncle Sam. We've got Uncle Sam here. Is that your Uncle Sam? I'm not sure.
Well, he's American, I would guess, Norman. Do you think?
Well, as if, how could you say that was American for sure? Just because he calls him Uncle Sam doesn't mean you're American.
Here we go. Garib talking complete nonsense again. Read this one. I bet this is rubbish too.
This performance against the poor English side should not be pushed under the carpet. Hope BCCI will come up with a proper plan to improve. It's not rubbish. It's actually quite a good statement.
Yeah, and Norman, I agree. I agree. We need to give that focus back on how we have to approach Test cricket as a country. We need to get more county games going. We need to have this particular playing 11 play more domestic cricket with red ball. IPL is a franchisee game. You cannot consider it as a domestic and a base for selection. There has to be some hard decisions made, and we lost the final, but we would like to be a top consistent side, going ahead every 2 years with the Test Championship. This means who is your best perfect red ball 11 playing those 2 years every cycle. So these decisions have to be made, and that's where I feel this is the moment. You have 22 guys over there in England. If you're not going to make changes now on performance, when are you going to do that?
It's if they've resisted so far, haven't they? They really have resisted. I mean,
because we were winning the series. Australia, if you go to see after Adelaide, 5 changes happened. We went on to win the series, which is very good. We lost the first test in Chennai against England, but we went on to win the series. But it's the overseas performance which is getting too concerning.
Yeah,
that's true. Look, I mean, all I'm saying is, if they're going to make changes, okay, the series at the moment is what? 1-1. Okay. Arguably, anyone going to play cricket in England to be after 3 tests 1-1 would be pretty happy, to be honest. They wouldn't be unhappy. Okay. So that's why I don't think they're going to make any more changes than Ashwin coming in for the 4th test. Okay. In terms of the batting, only because of the fact that it's 1-1. If they get beaten soundly in the 4th test match, they may have to do something. But I think you could argue being 1-1 is arguably a pretty good state of affairs to be in. Even though England won quite handsomely, England were also beaten in the last match quite well as well. So it's hard to say that it's out there because, again, Coley mentioned this template concept. It almost is telling me he's not going to change the batting order because I'm afraid Rahane didn't get runs in this test match, but the batsmen that are in there have done enough to keep their positions, I'm afraid. Pujara certainly has.
Norman, when he's talking about template, I think he means the bowling, the 4 and 1, the four seamers and 1 spinner. That's what I think he was. That's the template because last time he talked about the template, that was the 3 and 2, 4 and 1. But I'll be amazed if Ashwin doesn't play. I'll be absolutely gobsmacked if Ashwin doesn't play at the Oval.
Ashwin's playing. No, I didn't say. I said Ashwin will play.
But that's what he meant by the template. I mean, Kohli was indicating that he will still have 4 seamers. That's his conundrum. He likes the 4 seamers and the spinner. But
so
if
what are you suggesting? Have 4 seamers and 2 spinners?
No. But he was. I agree. He was suggesting that they're going to keep to that template of 4 seamers. So Ashwin comes in, but for Jadeja, I don't see him. Can't do that. That means he's weakening his batting even more.
And that's the reason I feel we need to change at least one batter.
Yeah.
And other thing could be he did make a comment. He likes this template, but he did add in the end. But I'll take a decision basis conditions. So Oval may influence him to go back to 3-2. There is a possibility for that one game to go back to 3-2.
They're not going to weaken their batting. They're not going to weaken their batting. They're not going to drop Jadeja unless they really want to have someone else come into the batting lineup. And if they're going to put Ashwin in, they're going to take Ishant Sharma out. And I think that'll be the only change at this point. The batting wise, I don't think so. I
agree with Naresh. I do think Ashwin will come in, and I think Ishant will go out. I think that's very. But I would do what Naresh suggested: bring in your opening bat and drop Rahul down to 5 instead of Rahane. I think Naresh is. I think they'll consider it. I think there'll be a serious consideration on that. I really do.
But that will mean virtually 3 batting changes, you could argue, because 1 out, 1 down on one end is kind of it is.
Well, England's just done it, haven't they? England beat the bullet.
Yeah, they did too. They did. It worked actually, didn't it? Yeah.
Milan looked a decent player, didn't he, guys? All right, he didn't come in 120 for 1 or whatever. It helps, but he did look decent.
He did well. David Malan did well. Yeah.
Especially
coming in directly from white ball, and he just came into the test.
Yeah, scoring his shot. The way you look at the way batsmen score their runs, and you think that he looks a player who knows his game a little bit, and that's encouraging, especially going to Australia, where they consider him a better player on Australian conditions, because he's tall and he plays the ball on the rising ball nicely. So that's a positive. That's a positive for England, I think.
And Mayank Agarwal last test at Gaba, we didn't have any options left, so Mayank came back, but he was at number 5. He got a 30 odd, so he has played in that position also. But I still feel, though Ashwin should come in for Ishant, one batting position of number 5 has to be changed. It could be Vihari, it could be Mayank, KL comes down, but that I think that change is needed, because that message has to go across. In the end, we have lost the test match, which we could have at least given a good fight.
It'll be interesting though, because we were all talking about Pujara going before Rahane. Now it's the other way around. Interesting.
But also, and I made this point earlier in the week before this victory, India mustn't forget that they were losing at Lords until that extraordinary last day. Now, don't tell me wrong, fantastic win, but they weren't in command of that test match. Going into the last day, people were talking, could England win it? England were favourites to win. So they mustn't mask a poor performance or what was going wrong at Lords by the fact that they pulled out a magnificent win. There are still lots of problems, and these problems are still here in this test. They've been highlighted in this test. The same problems, in a way. Pujara got some runs, but I'm wondering if he's struggling a bit. And Rahani's a problem, isn't he, as well? I just think when you win, sometimes you've still got to look at your performances. And I agree, don't change a winning side. Of course, I understand that. But you've still got to be realistic. You've still got to look at what's gone right and what's gone wrong.
This is such an important decision for India. They've got to make sure they know what they're doing, because if they make one change and it doesn't work, do they make another change and it doesn't work? They could lead to a cavalcade of.
I agree, Norman, on that point. That change needs to be sustaining enough for long run, and that's why I say that every cycle of 2 years needs to be looked at that way. So if that change happens now, that player is someone who's going to play this test championship. It cannot be a one-off test. But that process has to start now, because performance is at an all-time low. The collapses are too often. We have got 36 all-out and 78 all-out in a span of 9 months. That's a concern.
Okay, if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm thinking about this very carefully. And this is my suggestion at the moment. This is what I would do. Okay, Ashwin is coming in for Ishant. Okay.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
think that's pretty much. And I'd bring Ishant, and I'd bring in Gurkharat Gill into the commentary as well. That's one change. If he's actually not, he's got some weird. Has he just robbed a bank? What if he just robbed a bank or something? He got this big white balaclava on him.
No, I'm driving, but I'm driving, but I've joined nevertheless because I gave you my word. And in India, if you're driving, you need to wear a mask. So that's about it.
You're the reason why I'm doing this session.
Gurkeet, you could probably put off your camera. You can talk without camera, probably. Yeah.
No, I'm finding it amusing to watch your. I don't know what on earth's going with this white thing. Have you had your teeth pulled or something?
No, it's the light that is coming across. It's the light.
Back in the 1950s, when you had your string on a door handle, and then you pull the tooth, and then you get and they wear this big bandage. What was going on there? We've lost him because I was actually contemplating having a post-match discussion tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I need to go. I'm ever so sorry. I'm in trouble with the wife for being on for so long anyway, because we're going on holiday soon. So I need to help.
Oh, you're going to Canary Islands. So you're going to join in from the Canary Islands, eh?
I will do my absolute best, but bear in mind I'm married, and she's a difficult woman. So
what, an hour? You can't go and hide away in a corner for an hour?
it depends on the Wi-Fi. You know what it's like when you're not in hotels and things.
Yeah.
It can be a bit. Guys, thank you so much, and I will speak to you all soon.
Hang on, don't go. I'm going to take a quick photograph.
Gil, I can see Gil now. What are you doing, Gil? What are you doing?
I'm driving right now. I just joined from my mobile. I'm going to switch off my camera and be on audio only.
I mean, you're going to scare
Well, I've
the
taken
viewers.
a picture of
Gil. You're going to
take
scare
a
the
picture of
viewers.
that face. What is going on with that mask? That's not a mask. That's what you tooth pulled out.
That's come out of a Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th.
It's like Elephant Man.
The thing is, the Indian fans have had such a horrid day that I thought, maybe if I come on like this, it will cheer them up. It will make them smile. So I'm happy to do that. I'm happy if people people will laugh at my expense. Something what Ravi Shastri said in one of the press conferences when, a journalist asked him about all the memes that come at his disposal. So he said he's fine as long as, people enjoy it. And and as long as the team wins, he's fine with all the jokes that are made on him. So I thought, that is something that all of us should practice in our daily lives. Let people make fun of us, and as long as it's in the right spirit, it should be fine. It's very similar to what I do with Norman all the time. I keep pulling his leg because I know that he's not going to mind that.
I do mind. How do you know that? How do you know I don't mind? All right.
Sorry.
I was just joking. Put yourself, Gil. Put yourself on video because it's boring having a little thing. At least we see an unusual face mask. I like that. Post game review. What's going on? All right. Have we lost him? Have we lost Gil?
No, he's there. I think. Yeah.
He's not saying anything.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear. Put yourself back on visual. Because we at least it's showing something. All right. So, Naresh, are your changes that you're making, you have to understand the changes you're making to an Indian side that's had a very stable batting lineup for some time, other than the opening spot, which was forced on them because Gill and Agarwal were both injured. Rahul came in because of an injury, not because of form. Okay? So for us to destabilise the Pujara, Rahane and Kohli relationship, it has to be a distinct one. Okay? Meaning, if we drop Rahane, we're basically sending a signal that he won't play again.
Could be, Norman, but as I said, it's too inconsistent, the kind of collapses we are seeing, especially in a single session. So we need to take that call. We are, and this is the most experienced 3, 4, 5. So if there is no performance, there is no runs coming, we need to take that decision, and the decision has to be taken now.
All right. So you're suggesting that we bring in, let's just say, as planned at the beginning of the tour, Agarwal was going to open with Rohit Sharma. That was the plan. Okay. Yeah. Rahul's done the best he could in that position, and he took the advantage. Maybe he should be then positioned in the order in a different spot, and have Pujara, Kohli, and then Rahul, or have Rahul in first drop, and even push arguably Kohli and Pujara down in some way. That could also
then keep Rahul where he is and get in Vihari at 5. Or as I said, Mayank has played at 5 in Gaba, but the point is, how are we not paying attention to non-performance? That message has to go.
See, I'd argue that the way that you got 91, but putting Rahul at first drop could be a sensible thing too. Why?
I think Pujara. No, if Pujara is in the side, he plays at number 3.
Sorry, Gil?
Yeah, Gurkit.
Norman, can you hear me?
You're cutting in and out, Gil. You're cutting in and out. We can't hear you, Gil.
Yeah, you can't hear. If you can hear me, let me know.
Yeah,
Yes,
now you
now we
are.
can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, but I think you're driving and they're going to cut out.
The opinion. Yeah, I'm of the opinion of what Naresh said, that we need to bring in Vihari at 5 and not tinker the opening combination, because the skilled opening combination really well. So there's no need to fix something that is broken. And in the among the middle order, the most consistent batsman has been Ajinkya Rahane. So he has to wake me for Hanuma Vihari. It's as simple as that, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I don't mind that. I actually think that may make more. That's at least less of an overall team change compared to dropping Rahul down. Maybe we need to let Rahul stay there. And we've lost him. But
We lost
the rest,
him. Yeah.
does that make sense? I'm just trying to. I don't want India to implode. The batting lineup to implode. And I tell you what, if you make too many changes, it can. England, they got rid of Sibley. Okay, they put Hamid up to opener and they put Malan in, but that was it. That was the only change they made. Albeit it was a change, it wasn't a dramatic change. All I'm warning India is not to make wholesale changes. And if they're going to drop Rahane and put Vihari in, that's it. Then hopefully that improves. But they're going to have to give that batting lineup the rest of the series to play then.
Yeah. Then you have to play the same lineup for the next 2 tests. Yeah.
But I have to argue, does that mean Rahane's gone? And who becomes the vice captain?
Rohit Sharma.
Yeah. Because Rohit Sharma is by far and away the best Indian batter for the whole season, the whole year. Yeah. He's been the most consistent. Despite not scoring a century, he's been the most consistent. His batting has been superlative. His handling of English summer has been amazing. And why is not Kohli not noticing that more? Kohli yet again today. He got 55, yes. But he had 2 good balls on the leg side. Then he immediately went for the first ball outside off stump. After having let the ball go quite well before that, there's something mentally he starts to think, I can hit every ball. He's got to lose that. He's got to respect the bowling a bit more than he did. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think India have to make wholesale change. I think it's a bit of tweaking. I agree with that. I think it's a bit of tweaking rather than anything else.
That's why that's why I said in the batting lineup, one change.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be 2 changes because it's going to be Ashwin coming in as well.
Ashwin, yeah, and yeah, that as Kohli mentioned, it will be on conditions, but yeah, it's you can't continue without Ashwin for a long time.
What
and with Joe Root getting 300s, you need that, and that's what I felt that variety could help better now. With Joe Root has already scored 300s. This means the 4 pacers have not got Joe Root out early, except for the second innings at Lord's.
Yeah, I think Ashwin has to come in. I'm now dissecting this match that's just taken place, and first and foremost, India batting first was probably not the wrong decision, but they needed an Ashwin to back that up.
Yeah.
But they probably needed him to be Ashwin to back that up. It's an interesting one. It's a very difficult one. They've got so many good players. They don't know what to do with it half the time. Anyway, Ishant Sharma. I think Rahane and Ishant Sharma's Test careers may, in fact, be coming to a little bit of an end. Really?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, but then you got a couple of home series coming up soon, especially against New Zealand. So, they definitely have to play 2 spinners and, 5 batters. But we need to look at how Pant approaches the next 2 test matches. That's becoming a concern too.
He seems to skip down the wicket the second ball every time he bats, regardless.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work. The shot doesn't work. Then he goes back and then he starts to fend at balls outside off stump. And Ollie Robertson had a perfect scenario. Just bowl a ball angled away from
angling out. Yeah,
he was gone. Yeah, there's something that's concerning about Punt. Punt needs to drop down the order and bat freely down the order and not have too much responsibility up the order. I think that's what it is. Do you think, Naresh?
And Norman, and that's what I feel. Those hard decisions. Prithvi Shaw, 2 innings in Australia, we could make out technical issues. He was dropped. Now, as you're saying, second ball Pant going down the wicket has a technical issue too. That is not how you play Test cricket. So there has to be some decisions made. That's what hard talks have to be done with the guys who are at this level. You know.
But we are talking about doom and gloom here, Anthony. They're only 1-1, still in a great situation.
Agreed.
They'll come back. They'll come back. I'm pretty sure they'll come back. And Ashwin will play a role in that. I'm pretty sure. I'm very sure about that, actually. All right. How are you going? Are you in the mood to go longer?
I'll take a leave now. Yeah, it's 8 p.m.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I think I'm going to be going much short, so I'm going to have a bit of a monologue and I'll finish up. Thanks, Naresh, as always.
Thank you.
Sad to see India lose, but anyway, that's the way. There's a 1-1 now into the 4th test.
Yeah, it will be interesting. The next 2 games are going to be very interesting. It's just that, get the right combination, play hard, give a good fight. I think that's what's more important.
The next test is the most important because I don't think we're going to get a full match at Manchester. It could be a draw, which means really the final is like the Oval, in a way.
Yeah. Manchester may have some rain. Yeah.
All right, Naresh. Thanks again, as always.
Okay.
You've been fantastic.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Bye-bye. So we've had Reg Vernon, we've had obviously Naresh on there, we had Gurkharat come on for a while. I think we've had some great guests today. We had David Graveney and the likes of Jim Maxwell early with a partner. Very happy with the mixture of guests we've got coming on. It's been good. It's been very good indeed. So I've got a lot of time for the people that are coming on, and I think we need to thank the people that make the effort to come on the show. It's been great. It certainly has been great. All right. So in terms of time, we've gone to 12:30 Sydney time, which is pretty late. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. We've got a video coming up shortly of a media conference of Joe Root. We've also got one there of Ollie Robinson, who got the man of the match. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I think we've had a pretty good session. I think we've got a lot. Like I say, Rick Tech, thank you. Nice to have you here. Gareth Banker, thank you. Harshit Gupta, Sujal Namal, how are you? Good to have all you guys on. India need new set of batsmen. They do go bank, and we'll have to wait and see how much they go into that. But guys, I want to thank you for your time. So again, if you're online now, please subscribe. Please view, like, and share the post. Send to everybody that you know in your WhatsApp, your Instagram, your Facebook Messenger, your LinkedIn groups, and share the posts and say please subscribe and recommend it. I would appreciate that. So again, subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification button. Goes to my Instagram and my Twitter, as well as I've got a Facebook and LinkedIn page as well. Rain never came to the rescue India during a hard time, but often it does. VJ, rain has always been an issue. So guys, thank you very much for your time. We'll talk soon again.